Hey guys, it is Mike with Become the Night. Welcome back to another Song Suggestion Friday. This is the show where you put your suggestions of songs you would like for me to give my feedback and opinion on in the comments below. This kind of acts like a music share for the whole music snob community. By the way, I don't really have a name for you guys as my fans. I was not going to put one out there, but if you guys want to kind of come to a consensus on one, if you can, that's cool. I picked 5 of those suggestions from the comments section. The more obscure it is, typically a better chance it'll make it on. If you recommend a song that I've heard 100 billion times and everyone wants to hear, save it for a fucking video, not on Song Suggestion Friday. We're here to actually engage in something interesting that we haven't heard before. Patrons of $10 or more can send their suggestions directly to me. Those go into a poll. Patrons of $5 or more vote on that poll. The top three go into Song Suggestion Friday. I pick another 2 from the $10 suggestions that I want to review. This week I'm going to be instituting a veto power on that poll. If there's a song that I obviously don't want to fucking talk about because literally everyone knows about it, I'll veto it. Unless for some reason I haven't listened to it before, which would be highly doubtful. Or if it's just funny. So patrons, do it at your own risk. I listen to these 10 songs, I give you my feedback, my opinion. I grade them on a plus sign, equal sign, minus sign. Plus sign means I would actively seek that song out again. Minus sign means I would actively avoid that song. It has nothing to do with how good or bad a song is. It literally has to do with, will I think to myself, I want to listen to this song and put it on? Or, if the song comes on the radio, turn that shit off. Let's begin. Where Owls Know My Name by Rivers of Nihil. Has a filtered drum intro, interesting choice. Great clean tone and cool harmonic relationships going on there. Digging the vocals. Very subtle with a nice melody. And I'm pretty sure it's a guitar with like some thick effects on it in the background, like that. The distorted guitar tone is very distorted. Definitely not my thing, but it fits with what they're going for. Chorus gives us a nice release of this tension. It's a decent culmination. In the second verse, they have this guitar with the delay on it. Great touch. Really helps bring a good contrast between this part and the rest of the piece. Still fits. Wow, was not expecting a saxophone in this genre of music, but sexy as fuck. Also great phrasing in that saxophone lead. The lead at 306, very nice. I love the fact that they added some weird modulator to it. Drums, very cool. They have great sense of accents throughout, but they're not like humdrum, just doing the traditional metal following every accent. They still mix it up here and there. So it's a nice balance. They're tasty. Second saxophone lead is airy and ethereal. All around, great composition and arrangement, good production. This song is tight. Total grade for this song, equal sign. As I Was Going to St. Clair by Elias and the Error. This song is tonally experimental, especially in the intro. Definitely not my thing, especially if you look at the sound palette, which is all ridiculously distorted more than it needs to be. And I understand, I think what they're going for is a sense of ambiguity, both with the melody and harmony not matching one another, but also in the fact that it's kind of hard to decipher the tones because of the distortion. I still think it sucks. And we go in and out of transitions between like a boogie ragtime feel into something more electronic, like really weird. This is, a hipster thinks he's being creative. The vocals sound like a really bad karaoke singer who thinks that they're really good. Or basically if David Bowie got smashed in the throat a couple times. The production lacks clarity and fullness, as I already addressed earlier. I get that's for effect. I still hate it. The bass guitar should definitely be fuller for sure, without a doubt. That's, I think, a big thing that's lacking from this whole picture. Again, you can blame the distortion. The instrumentation and arrangement are interesting at best, but really just not pleasing at all. And the composition isn't pleasing at all. That's really where I think the biggest lack is, the composition and, for me, the sound palette. I appreciate trying to go outside the box, but this just was not musical to me, outside of the rhythm. Total grade for this song, minus sign. Daddy, Brother, Lover, Little Boy by Mr. Big. 80s rock riff, getting pretty chuggy, we got a good groove driving, and we're gonna maintain that through pretty much the whole song. Vocals are 80 as fuck, but they're cool. This reminds me a shit ton of Kickstart by Heart by Motley Crue. I mean, there's parts where it's almost a 1-for-1. Song's even in the same key, G minor. The drummer is great, but the drum parts he has to play are kind of dull, and that's not his fault, it's the genre, so like, I get it. The guitar, with the exception of that guitar solo, which we'll get to, very laid back as well, and this serves to drive the vocals forward. For 1991, this is definitely behind the times. Production is standard for the genre, which is good. That guitar solo was ridiculous. Fucking shreds your face right off. Paul Gilbert, amazing as always. Other than that, I would say the song is pretty unremarkable. It's all been heard before, even for the period. Total grade for this song, equal sign. Welcome Home by Coheed and Cambria. I've always loved the fucking classical guitar intro, followed by this kick-ass distorted version of the exact same theme. Awesome. This is absolutely my favorite Coheed and Cambria song. Call me a fucking fake fan or whatever. I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan of them, so there you go. And that guitar tone, listening to it this time, was not as heavy as I remember it being all the other times I've listened to it. Still a good tone, and it's great, and you still get that depth out of the huge verb that's on the drums and the strings that are in the background, but I mean, yeah, I was like, wow, that's like pretty close to my tone, actually. Melody is kick-ass, and Claudio sings it fucking perfectly. Such a champ. By the way, strings, excellent choice. Chordally, this song is very simple, especially for them, but doesn't even matter. There's such a great arrangement and production in this. It just blows through the fucking speakers. It's huge. Lots of depth. The song actually gives me chills every time. Having listened back to this song again, especially having been compared to Coheed and Cambria with some of my original stuff, I now get it, especially when hearing him do the pinch harmonics in this song, which I don't think he does as much in his later work. I was like, oh, okay, now I get why people are saying this. And like, that's fucking uncanny. That's nuts. Funny thing is, I barely fucking listen to them. I do not consider them a songwriting influence of mine at all. Also, funny thing too, vocals are mixed too low in the chorus. Didn't realize that till now. The dual guitar solo part is cool, and they kind of break off into their own thing. And the guitar solos they're good for what they're doing, but you can definitely tell it's more feel than writing than construction. So like in that sense, it's like definitely not my favorite of your guys's. This is an amazing song. Go fucking listen to it. Total grade for this song, 2+ signs. Song of the Golden Dragon by Estas, Tonne. This is a solo piece of one classical guitar. Dude is talented as hell. Chords are very simple. Where you see a lot of the talent, if you will, is not so much in the basic composition of just the chords and the rhythm. It's in the phrasing of the multiple parts he plays on one guitar. This is definitely a folkier inspired classical guitar than, like, when I say folkier, I don't mean American folk, but you get more of a down to earth and not truly classical guitar type of style. Excellent dynamics throughout the entire song, both in the parts that he's playing and loudness. Great melodies throughout. Some of them get a little bit rehashed later on, but I think that's both a genre thing and the fact that he's trying to make it kind of a variation. Rhythmically, this song is fucking great. I wish I was that talented of a finger picker, man. Holy cow. Some of the more extreme parts actually feel rock and roll inspired. The playing definitely is not perfect, and I think that adds to the authenticity of it, and I think goes with the genre. I think if you did play it perfect, it just kind of would lose some of the soul. Very beautiful, very passionate. I highly recommend everyone go and listen to this, especially if this is not a type of music that you are used to listening to. It'd be a great way to kind of break you into the genre. If you don't like it, that's fine, but you should listen to it anyway. Total grade for this song, +sign. Bringing It Down by Starset. I do like the subtlety of the intro. And we start getting a little genty. These vocals are definitely tuned, and I like the quality of his voice that I'm hearing, but part of me thinks that it's being covered up by not only the tuning, but in the chorus they layer it with a number of effects that are not too subtle. It's kind of I think to beef out his vocal tone, because it's not a very strong vocal tone. So yeah, that makes me second guess how good this guy is. I will say the melody's good. It's a little bit too conjunctive in the verses, and here's the thing. That chorus has the instrumentation it needs. The melody in that chorus, such a letdown, especially with the way that they're building things in the verses, and then the pre-chorus is like a little bit poppier. Not really a fan of it, but it's sufficiently built the tension we needed for a good release at the chorus. And then that melody is such a letdown, man. Did not deliver. Definitely not catchy either. If you just change the melody in that chorus, you might actually have a pretty decent song on your hands. Guitar tone is good, but the guitar parts themselves are pretty humdrum. The drums are okay. Honestly, not that great. They keep it interesting enough, but I would have appreciated a little bit more cymbal play. This song definitely did not get me there. There's no X factor here that makes me think, oh, okay, so this is why I should listen to this. There's nothing that gives me a reason to listen to this again. I could hear it somewhere else. Total grade for this song, equal sign. Never Know by the Lemon Twigs. This to me, while not as bizarre as the fucking St. Clair thing, is probably, in my opinion, the weirdest song I've listened to this time around, because of how much I enjoyed it, even though it was bizarre. Has a late 60s, early 70s rock and roll, like a popular rock and roll vibe. They have a flute and a sitar, and I fucking laughed when I heard it. The intro is actually an interesting composition. A lot of times when you hear this style of music, you think of like a Chicago, or there's no horn section in this song. But that style of writing, you think something a little bit more basic. You think like Rolling Stones. And this actually had some really cool, unconventional writing, which I appreciated. It was still digestible and accessible. I am not a fan of the vocals at all, the exception of the chorus, but we'll get there. The melody is decent, and in the first verse, the bass follows it. I really didn't like that. The chorus is weird. It's not a typical chorus at all. It's literally two words repeated over and over, but it's not repeated like da-da-da, da-da, da-da. It's like long-held notes with big, rich harmonies. Those are the vocal parts I really enjoyed. Man, like that was really cool. I appreciated the fact that it was soothing and somewhat catchy. It was definitely singable, but I haven't heard something quite like that before. This was released in 2018, but it sounds like it was recorded in the late 60s. Fucking well done. Well done. Although they do that kind of dead drum sound that I've complained a lot on a bunch of older tracks, but I mean, still well done. Not only that, you've added more room to it than they typically would have, so good job. This song is really strange for me for many reasons, but I dig it, and I would definitely go see these guys. Total grade for this song, equal sign. Through the Fire and Flames by Dragonforce. This song is the reason why I'm giving myself veto power on the poll. This is Dragonforce's best song and arguably their only song. It's very impressive to say the least, and from the moment I originally heard it, I was like, they can't do this live, there's no way. From the reviews that I have heard from multiple people throughout the years, they either were excellent or fucking sucked balls. And if you ask me, it was because of the overwhelming amount of sucking balls that they didn't keep doing what they were doing and didn't maintain popularity. They became a novelty. Nothing's wrong with a novelty, but let's admit what something is. Production is great on this track. Chordally, it's really fucking simple. The most complicated thing in this song is the speed. That's it. The drums are very lazily written and kind of makes me mad. I beat this on Guitar Hero on expert mode multiple times in my life. Total grade for this song, equal sign. Mr. Doctor Man by Palaye Royale. In the intro, both that riff and that guitar tone make me want to hate this song so bad. The vocals are actually cool. I really liked that. And by the time we hit the chorus, this actually winds up having like a semi My Chemical Romance type of vibe, which I was not expecting at all. Really dig the melody throughout. Composition is cool. Production and soundscape is good. Definitely not my thing, but it is good. It has a familiar but distinct sound. I think composition has to help that quite a bit. I wish they would back off the verb a bit. That's one thing I have as a big complaint as a lot of these fucking modern indie bands. The guitar parts were pretty simple, but it did fit right in with what was happening. The bass, pretty boring to be honest. It pretty much just followed the root the whole time. There was a couple of times it walked around, but not very exciting. Needs more low end on the tone. And the thing is, it's probably being buried by the toms, because those toms were obnoxiously deep. Wow. Again, this is definitely not my thing. This is far too fucking hipstery for me. It's like fucking, I just went and sat in a restaurant in Brooklyn for like 5 minutes, but I do not hate it at all. I think it's good. Total grade for this song, equal sign. 21st Century Blood by The Warning. Given the album art, I was not expecting this type of a song at all. Has a blues boogie feel. I like her voice. I like the vocals. They're nice. The melody throughout this song is highly derivative. Well, the chorus is a little less so. Definitely in every other part of the song. The guitar riffs are pretty fucking boring. The drums are very boring. The bass only follows the guitar. Kill me. The yeahs throughout the song make me want to slap her in the face. It's trying to be a rock and roll anthem. Does not inspire me whatsoever. Production is solid. Composition is quite lackluster. The solo is okay. When he started out the solo, definitely a little weak, but finished strong, so good on ya. These guys need a producer who hates pop music or just a co-writer who does something completely different from them to give it a spice of life, because right now it like has all of the parts to be a living, breathing song and still feels flat to me. Total grade for this song, equal sign. My first suggestion for you this week is Only the Good Die Young by Billy Joel. I grew up with Billy Joel, one of the songs I've always loved, sexy saxophone solo, the way pop music should be written. Go take a listen. My next suggestion for you this week is This Love by Bob Marley. This was one of the first CDs I ever owned as a child. I think I was 6 years old. My sister got it for me for Christmas. Love you, Leah. Bob Marley is the fucking shit, and this is the first song of his I ever listened to, and I wanted to dance to it all the fucking time. Love Bob Marley. Love this fucking song. I want to sing this to my wife, and I want to sing this while dancing with my kids in my home. And I'm not sure, I think I might have suggested this one already, but my last suggestion this week is Follow from the Halo 2 soundtrack. Halo 2 soundtrack featured Incubus. This is also familiar. I'm pretty sure I already suggested this. The Halo 2 soundtrack featured Incubus as an artist on there, and they made 4 different movements in quotes. They were just 4 random fucking songs that never made it into the game, but that were kick-ass. And this is one of my favorites, if not my favorite. They all have a very different flavor. This is the least experimental of the 4. That is it for Song Suggestion Friday. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave your suggestions in the comments below. 1 per person, or you get deleted from my comment section. Please support me on Patreon. I make 4 videos a week, and I can't make any of them without your support. This is my job. I am also offering guitar lessons still. The last person I was in contact with has not hit me back, so 1 spot's open. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Become the Night. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you in the next video. Rock on!